Greetings and peace to you all. My name is Umi. Thank you guys for joining me for this video. So we are talking about abandonment, and this has come up for a lot of reasons, in part because I recognize as many people get into adulthood, there are things that surface, and it has a lot to do with major things like abandonment that happened in early childhood or that happened in early relationships. And so they're projecting a lot in current relationships, or they're dealing with a lot of hard and difficult emotions from the past, but haven't associated with things like abandonment, just haven't quite admitted it and accepted it, that that's what happened. You know, the consequences of abandonment, where our behavior reflects rejection, our behavior reflects fear, needing to please everybody just to be accepted, where we damn near sell our soul just to feel a part, just to belong. Feeling threatened by the thought of love. When people want to get close to you and love you and honor you and appreciate you, it just feels foreign, and so you often can reject it or sabotage relationships because you don't know what it's like to follow through. Maybe because early on constantly you witnessed abandonment, someone not following through or showing up for you or your family, and it kind of created a cycle in your mind, or at least a belief related to security, a sense of security, a sense of worth, a sense of purpose even. So a lot is triggered from the effects of abandonment, and it's important that you first acknowledge that that's what it is. It could certainly be disguised even when we lose a loved one. We maybe didn't realize that our feelings are very much associated with feeling abandoned when that person died, that they left us, they're not here with us to help us cope with life and to go through life. And that could feel as if we were left behind in a way. Having a parent that's incarcerated or overseas or working, being physically available but not emotionally available. Dealing with abandonment when it comes to our dreams and ideas and hopes, that our parents have been there, or a caretaker or whomever has been there for us through a lot. But every time it came to things that were really dear to us, core to us, our interests, our truth, that always felt like it was cast aside or abandoned by others. And so therefore we would abandon our own ideas, feeling that they weren't worthy, they didn't have value, people wouldn't appreciate it. Or maybe you felt that way by God, which can be difficult to admit. There have been moments in life where you have felt abandoned by God, that through the situation you were going through, the pain, the trauma, the uncertainty, the fear, the low that you were at in life at that moment, where was God? So whatever it is that you associate with this major and very loaded word of abandonment, it's important you acknowledge it and the emotions that have come from it, so that way you can move forward now. Many of you are well into adulthood, and you've seen your projections come out in relationships. You've seen your fear of commitment. You've seen your rejection of love. Anytime we're compromising ourselves and our soul's purpose for the sake of belonging and feeling needed, this is very dangerous for us. It infringes on our personal development in so many ways, because we're not able to see our patterns of behavior, and we also haven't accepted and acknowledged that, hey, at one point in my life, or in a recent relationship maybe, I experienced the emotional trauma of being abandoned. And it made me feel my self-worth or self-value is null and void. I don't have much worth if even my mother or father doesn't want me, or this person doesn't care for me, or people don't support my ideas. Our ego, as well as what gives us our sense of self-worth, could have really been challenged and experienced some blows maybe early in life when it mattered most, those critical ages of development, emotional development. Abandonment really could have played a major part in our life. It's important that you don't feel alone in dealing with abandonment issues. We don't like to label ourselves or have these tags, but that's just a part of life, that when you mature a little bit, you have to sometimes acknowledge where you've been hurt and how it's spilling over into your life, and it's affecting your life, negatively affecting your life. You're choosing not to live in denial about it and to acknowledge it. I've got some abandonment issues, and it's been coming out and manifesting in my life this way. I acknowledge it, and I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to let it go. So that mindset that we develop as a result of abandonment can really penetrate our relationships for the negative. But what does build up in us are certain qualities to do with enduring a situation where we have to depend on ourselves and we have to build up our own emotional reserve, our own emotional strength, and trusting ourselves and our emotions also develops in a time where we don't have someone around that we once depended on there. So we have to turn inward for that support. Not always. We do turn to vices and bad relationships and bad associations, and we can turn to many different things. But if we're sensible, we'd acknowledge that, okay, someone's out of my life, or I feel abandoned at this time. How am I going to deal or cope with this? If in fact we are living and operating from that spirit, that awakened spirit of knowledge of self, of the intent to heal, of being in service to others, we welcome in that peace of mind, and the past starts to become the past. Even if it was just 2 days ago when that person wounded you or abandoned you or hurt you, the past becomes the past. So understand that radical acceptance and even an instant healing is possible. I would be unwise to say tomorrow you're going to wake up feeling renewed and like a new person. Yes, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you, but how many of you have faith that strong that you feel you can experience that instant healing? So until you feel you've reached that level of acceptance that it's possible to be healed in that way, you need to continue to do the work for yourself every day and pouring in yourself loving words, healing words, acknowledging that God within you has never abandoned you, regardless of outer circumstances. Whatever's happening out here, that never takes away the refuge, the sanctuary, the healing space, the truth, the omnipresent, infinite, not finite, infinite essence of God that is within you, that's accessible at any time. If you acknowledge that that's a real thing and something that you can tap into, despite what's happening around, then you find that space for healing. You find the strength you need to move through a situation. Acknowledge that there's more to you and more value and substance and purity and healing to you and within you and accessible through you than ever thought possible. I'm speaking on behalf of the divine feminine energy and its need for healing and transformation, death of the old, letting go of the old trauma, the old fears and experiences, and all of the residue that has come with it and the consequences and outcome that has come as a result of the past. We're letting it go. It's going to die off. And what's going to replace it is the rebirth and the renewal of your spirit, a greater sense of self-worth, feeling appreciative of how God shows up and provides for you in ways you least expected, acknowledging your gifts and the lessons that these gifts have birthed in you, seeing your own personal self-development and how you've endured a hell of a lot in your life and look at where you are now. You still manage to seek the truth of who you are, and you still manage to show up and allow your light to manifest when it's needed most. So give yourself that love and recognize that you are progressing and you are building toward the woman or man you see yourself being when you're free from the baggage and debris of the past and the old. So abandonment no longer has a hold on you. That's what I'm saying, and what is being spoken of in your life and my life and our lives. We're not going to allow abandonment and all of what has come as a result of what's happened in our lives to be a burden on us, to weigh us down. So rejoice in that. Find a reason to wake up and celebrate that I'm no longer a victim to the past. I'm no longer a victim to other people's lack of knowledge of themselves, because I have knowledge of self now, or at least I'm gaining knowledge of self. It's empowering me, it's healing me, and it's helping to break a lot of bonds that have been on my consciousness and my psyche for so long, related to events and things that have happened. So you absolutely can heal from this. Continue to do your spiritual practices that fill you up and give you that sense of security and provide security for you, emotional and spiritual. That can't be taken away from you. Don't abandon yourself. That's the key here. Others may abandon us from time to time because they don't know who they are, or they don't see how they're inflicting any pain on us, or they just don't acknowledge what their abandonment is doing, or we haven't acknowledged when we've done it. So I hope this was useful. It was certainly just kind of pouring out there, and I wanted to share this to give many of you encouragement regarding moments in your life where you felt alone, where you felt that, abandonment has just had such an impact on your life that you can't really recover or experience any normalcy in relationships. But know that that's not something you need to convince yourself of. It's not the truth. It's just merely how you're reading into these experiences as being limiting You're reading into these experiences as being a part of your past that still burdens you, and it doesn't have to remain that way. You can choose to be set free from these things. It's a conscious choice. Thank you all for tuning in. Please share your experiences below, how you are overcoming these things. It doesn't have to be exclusive to abandonment, but here, if you've been able to rekindle within yourself a sense of purpose and empowerment and self-love and a renewed outlook on life, and you felt you've transcended and recovered from these energies, and share that experience, share that encouragement for others. If you're interested in a personal session, that information is below, umispeaks.life. You can schedule a session based on your time and availability, and it's done like this. Basically, you'll see a similar background, and we'll build and discuss on your natal chart or your spiritual journey or personal life events and circumstances, whatever you need. And you may find that it serves to really give you that support and encouragement that you need right now. So thank you guys who have booked sessions and allowed, you know, that space of healing and conversation, as we all need that from time to time. So yes, until next time, peace.